was adding to people his nocturnal thoughts. Hey, should Errol Spence fight Keith Thurman? That's the question. In my opinion, well, I'm gonna put it like this. No. No and yes. Yes and no. If I was Errol Spence, I wouldn't be looking to fight Keith Thurman in my next fight. After fighting Danny Garcia, coming back from the accident, what I'm saying, getting your body back in shape, going through all that hard work, discipline, focus, coming back and defeating, you know, Danny Garcia, I will be on a war path, most definitely. Keith Thurman would be on my hit list if I was Errol Spence. What makes the most sense is what makes the most dollars. That's why everybody is trying to get a shot at Manny Pacquiao. They know that that name on their resume and on their legacy is the biggest name they can get in the welterweight division. You know what I'm saying? Manny Pacquiao. So that's why you hear Terrence Bud Crawford calling out Manny Pacquiao. That's why you get even Errol Spence. Even though I have to give a lot of, I have to point out, because I didn't really hear anybody else pointing out the fact, I like the way Errol Spence handled the post-fight questions when they brought up Terrence Bud Crawford, when they brought up Canelo Alvarez, and when they brought up Manny Pacquiao. And EJ pretty much was able to parry those questions and let everybody know this was a hard year back. Now it's time for me to go back and reflect, go back to my ranch, buy some chickens, cows, and horses, and enjoy some time with my family. Then I get back to boxing. I really appreciate that answer. Gives the man time to, plot out, and continue his war path. Danny Garcia fight was a career fight. Then he's going to look into his legacy fights. Now, I'm going to talk about Keith Thurman. And I might talk about Manny Pacquiao and Terrence Bud Crawford. But the main focus right now is Keith Thurman. Because Keith Thurman is a top tier welterweight. And he only has one defeat. And his one loss comes to Manny Pacquiao. Right? So at the end of the day, when you talk about the tippity top, the top of the tier, the most absolute top of the mountaintop, there's only two people. There's only two people. You got Manny Pacquiao and Errol Spence. They're at the top. That fight makes the most logical sense of who's going to be at the top solo. Period. Then you have Terrence Bud Crawford. And then behind him, you have Sean Porter's, Keith Thurman's. Danny Garcia obviously just got knocked down. You know what I'm saying? And has to restart his climb if he chooses to continue with his career. You know what I'm saying? I don't like the Manny Pacquiao versus Mikey Garcia fight. A lot of people give Manny Pacquiao a pass because they say he's been a champion. He's been having a career for the last 4 decades, and nobody has accomplished what he's accomplished. So if he decides to take a soft touch on his way out, he gets a pass. And I somewhat agree with that logic, but at the end of the day, a true champion who wants to pass his torch, who wants to pass the baton, wants to pass it to another champion that's going to do it justice. not pass it to somebody that's going to lose at their next fight. You know what I'm saying? Not to say, you know, you don't even know. Be honest, I don't even know. Manny Pacquiao fights Mikey Garcia. Manny Pacquiao might. There's a big, big, big chance if that fight happens. You know, hypothetically, that Manny Pacquiao would, you know what I'm saying, outclass Mikey Garcia. You know, which we'll see when we get there. But still, I just feel like with that warrior mentality that Manny Pacquiao has, even though he's a little bit outnumbered, outgunned when it comes to Errol Spence and when it comes to, you know, Terrence Bud Crawford. Hey, man, if you had enough juice to take out Adrian Broner, and then you had enough juice, no pun intended. I mean, just juice, period. I'm not talking about the PED. I'm talking about if you had enough, you know what I'm saying, in your system, in your soul. That don't sound right either. Look, if you had that, you know, you still got that willpower. It's still something in you that you have to leave in the ring as a champion. You have to leave it all in the arena. If I was to fall on my sword or get took out on my shield, I would want it to be to a worthy opponent. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, you know, you can do the Mayweather soft touch Andre Berto, which I always thought Andre Berto was a great fight to leave the game on. You know, aesthetically, especially. You know, Andre Berto didn't have all the skills, but he definitely brought something to the table. You know, I mean, Mayweather was like, you know what I'm saying, I don't got muscles like Berto, but Berto don't got money like me. You know what I mean? So, Manny Pacquiao passing the torch to Mikey Garcia, I really just don't like that idea. I don't think Mikey Garcia is in a position where he deserves that, to be honest with you. You know, he hasn't done anything since his loss to Errol Spence. So, to me, Errol Spence and Manny Pacquiao should you know, change the guards at the top of the mountaintop. But let's talk about Keith Thurman. Keith Thurman has one loss. You know what I'm saying? And Keith Thurman was battling hand injuries and multiple injuries for like the last year and a half, 2 years. You know what I'm saying? He came back, fought Jose Zito Lopez, and that was sort of a tune-up fight, trying to get the rust off. He exposed that he was, you know, still soft in the stomach. You know what I'm saying? He was soft in the stomach against Danny Garcia. He was soft in the stomach against Jose Zito Lopez. And he was definitely soft in the guts when it came to Manny Pacquiao. You know, 10th, 11th round, after he had put a lot of work in to try to even out that first round knockdown. My apologies. He did a lot of work. In the first round, he got knocked down in the flash knockdown, got caught going straight back. Manny Pacquiao, being as fast as he is, closed the distance, caught him off guard and put him down. Flash knockdown, he gets back up. You can tell that his ego is bruised, and he put in some good, solid, decent work. At the end of the fight, Manny Pacquiao even looked at him and said, hey, you got some heavy fists. You know what I'm saying? But at the end of the day, 10 or 11th round, Manny Pacquiao still hurt him with that gut punch. Had, you know, Keith Thurman trying to take out his mouthpiece just to be able to get in some extra air. You know what I'm saying? But he sucked it up. He bit down, and he fought to the end. 12 rounds. He left out of there. He was all banged up, bruised up, lumped up, and he still was Keith Thurman. You know what I'm saying? But he was humbled. He realized he took his man for granted, underestimated him, still didn't train the way he needed to train, still felt like he had some rust on him. And at the end of the day, he's still talking his Keith Thurman one-time shit. I don't have an O anymore. You know, he always like, I got an O. I'm not afraid to let it go. Now that O is gone. I would like to see what Keith Thurman would do if he was able to get himself back up to 100% and be the same Keith Thurman that fought Danny Garcia and fought Sean Porter. I think that Keith Thurman will be a tough fighter for anybody, but I think he'll definitely be a tough fight for Terrence Bud Crawford. Honestly, I don't think that'd be too much of a tough fight for Errol Spence. Not with a weak stomach, not with the weak guts. You know what I'm saying? If you ain't a hard body, if you're not hard body, you don't want to go up in the ring with Errol Spence, especially not right now. You know what I'm saying? Errol Spence is a body snatcher, and Kieth Thurman, I think, will get broke. I think Kieth Thurman would probably be down in 7, 8 rounds, period. Not getting back up, period. You know what I'm saying? He'd be like Jason Rosario, composting on the ground after he took that shot from Jamel Charlo. That's just my thoughts. Terrence Bud Crawford, I don't see Terrence Bud Crawford working the body as much as Errol Spence, you know. But at the same time, I would like to see both of those guys in there at 100%. I would like to see Terrence Bud Crawford fight somebody at 100%. So with that, kind of segues me into is Errol Spence. To be honest with you, I would double back and fight Kieth Thurman just because, but that would not be my next fight. Errol Spence next fight, if I was Errol Spence, with all honesty, even though Manny Pacquiao would be the big money, Canelo would be a big legacy fight, it's time for Errol Spence to fight Terrence Bud Crawford. You know what I'm saying? If I was Errol Spence. Fuck the politics, you know what I'm saying? I know big bank, take little bank, you know what I'm saying? I know 60-40 is generous at this particular time. But at the end of the day, get that shit out the way. You know what I'm saying? Iron sharpens iron, but you got to strike while the iron is hot. You got Terrence Crawford, in my opinion, has taken some soft touches in the welterweight division. You know what I'm saying? Not to go over his whole resume at the welterweight division, but his last fight against Kell Brook, that just was a Kell Brook that was not 100%. Kell Brook is pretty much a shell of what he used to be in his glory years. Still a warrior, so no disrespect, still a warrior. But Terrence did not beat Kell Brook at 100%. But I can't take away anything from Terrence for that fight. That's not his fault that Kell Brook is not 100%. What I expect to see is Terrence Bud Crawford at 100%. You see what I'm saying? What I expect to see is Errol Spence at 100%. Like Errol Spence just fighting Danny Garcia, he gave himself a B, which means he can level up even more. I would like to see him level up even more. Come into the fight 100% and go ahead and fight Terrence Bud Crawford. There's just no need to keep procrastinating this fight out. Never mind the whole, who the promoters, the Bob Arum and Terrence Bud Crawford situation that goes back and forth, the Al Heyman, Bob Arum situation, the other side of the street, the 60-40 split, the pay-per-view, who's the bigger star, who's the big fish, who's the big bank, who's the megalodon shark, who's the guppy. I get all of that. I dig all that. It's all good. It's all cool. That can keep going on and on and on. You know what I'm saying? But I'm just saying, if I was Errol Spence, I would go ahead and solidify and get the shit out of there as far as that one nemesis that everybody thinks that is my equal. And Terrence Bud Crawford should be actually thinking the same thing. Terrence Bud Crawford should be thinking the same thing. So he calling out Manny Pacquiao, and that makes sense too, because that's a big money fight for him. He's been calling out Manny Pacquiao for years, But you wasn't able to get a fight with Manny Pacquiao when y'all was underneath the same umbrella. So right now, you know what it is, and you know who you fought, and you know what you made out of. I know you got a lot of people that, say a lot of things, and obviously you listening to it because I hear you responding to it. But in the heart of your heart, you should know And at the end of the day, Errol Spence is a situation for Terrence Bud Crawford. I don't think you're going to be able to get over it, get under it, go around it, or get through it. You know what I'm saying? I think that if y'all two on a warpath, on a collision course, 2021 should be the year it goes down. Period, point blank. Manny Pacquiao should retire, to be honest with you. You know, no disrespect. You know, because taking soft touches just to kind of stretch out your career, Manny Pacquiao would damn near be better off doing the, Floyd Money Mayweather blueprint and start going off the fight like celebrity exhibition matches. You know what I'm saying? If you're not going to fight the cream of the cream, if you're not going to fight the Errol Spences and the Terrence Bud Crawford, then you might as well, get out of the sport of boxing and then just go make money fighting, not Conor McGregor, but the Conor McGregor and Logan Paul and Jake Paul and whoever, go that route. That's just my opinion. If you're going to stay in the game and be on the king, don't fight people on the low level and continue to just stretch out your career. Fight another king. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, fight another king. But this whole video is mainly about Kieth Thurman. Kieth Thurman, he's in that position where they can freeze him out. Kieth Thurman, if he was thinking what he should be trying to do, if he can't get, because Kieth Thurman shouldn't be thinking Errol Spence. Even though that fight makes sense too. But Kieth Thurman should be thinking Terrence Bud Crawford, Danny Garcia, Sean Porter. And he need to get that Manny Pacquiao fight out of his mind completely. You're not going to be able to get redemption back off of that. That's just your L. You're going to have to eat it. You're going to have to sit on it. That's just going to be a part of your career permanently. That you lost to Manny Pacquiao. Period, point blank. But everybody thinks that you were in close fights with Danny Garcia. You was in close fights with Sean Porter. Most people feel like they know Errol Spence will blow you out the water. Terrence Bud Crawford will be a close fight. That'll be a good fight. That'll be a good, solid fight for Kieth Thurman. I will be going for that and negotiate with the man. I know you want the $10 million, but negotiate. Make it make sense. Get back in shape. Make sure your hands is right. Get your body back on point. Get your core back strong. Tighten up. You know what I'm saying? Tighten up, Kieth Thurman. You dig what I'm saying? Tighten up. Come back ready to go to war. Don't come back, you know what I'm saying, and not show improve. And let Terrence Bud Crawford take you out like he took out Kell Brook. Because that's not going to do anything for anybody. Don't come in the game just trying to get a paycheck, man. If you want to be the belt holder, if you want to get back to the top, man, you got to come ready. Yeah, because it really ain't no easy path. Sean Porter, it's a tough fight for Kieth Thurman right now. I think Sean Porter, I don't know his last fight against Sebastian Formella. To me, Sebastian Formella was built tougher and had way more integrity than broken down, washed up Kell Brook. So Sean Porter, he gives a tough fight to anybody. Terrence Crawford, Kieth Thurman. And if he fought Errol Spence, I think Errol Spence would wash him out the second fight. He said it himself, I could have fought Sean Porter differently, and he only would have won 1 or 2 rounds. So, with that being said, Errol Spence, he has his opportunity to pick. It would make most sense for him to knock out Manny Pacquiao and really be at the top of the mountain. And then he really puts himself in a position where he holds all the cards against Terrence Bud Crawford and then fight Terrence Bud Crawford. But if he can't get that Manny Pacquiao fight, I want to see him fight Terrence Bud Crawford and go hard at that fight. Period. He doesn't have to, but he should. As a king, take him off the damn chessboard. You know what I mean? Kieth Thurman, you in a position where it's tough no matter what you're trying to do. But he deserves a shot. Somebody should give him a shot. Um, Matter of fact, another option for Errol Spence. Another option for Errol Spence is to fight Sean Porter and go back and clean up that work. Somewhat similar to what Mayweather did with Marcus Maidana. And say, okay, you guys feel like I didn't beat him good enough the first time. I'll fight him again the second time and show y'all decisively, show y'all more convincingly who's the better. You know, he got in because there's still a lot of people that's just not going to believe that Errol Spence chose to fight Sean Porter that way. A lot of people still want to have this notion that Sean Porter forced Errol Spence into a dogfight and they had it a draw into the 11th round. And I think that's just so obviously incorrect. It's so obvious that Errol Spence chose to fight Mikey Garcia the way he chose to fight Mikey Garcia. Sure, you can see that he probably took some shortcuts. Like you said, he didn't even do any core training. So he probably could have knocked out Mikey Garcia had he have been in, superb shape. But he also said, I wanted to box and show my skills. He did that. He said he cut corners again when he was in training mode for Sean Porter. And he said, I'm going to fight Sean Porter at his own fight, and I'm trying to knock this man out. And you've seen Sean Porter get hurt and knocked down in the 11th round like you've never seen nobody else do. Adrian Broner did a little flash knockdown against Sean Porter. Danny Garcia couldn't knock down Sean Porter. Kieth Thurman couldn't knock down Sean Porter. So he said he was going to do that. He did that. Got into an accident, and now he came back and he said, I'm going to be, back on my, dominating style, boxing, mixing it up. Fought Danny Garcia. Nobody could complain because everybody said he could have fought a soft touch. He didn't. He could have probably even fought Kell Brook. You know what I'm saying? So he came back and fought Danny Garcia and displayed just a high level of grit, boxing skills, technique, every damn adjective I can think of. He showed that in this fight against Danny Garcia. Now he's sitting on top of a throne. He has his options. You know what I'm saying? So I think I pretty much said everything I wanted to say. My bottom point of this is Kieth Thurman he deserves a shot. I can see him getting froze out, but he got to see that he put himself in a position where it's going to be tough. You know what I'm saying? His easiest fight that he probably could make, would be against Sean Porter. Because Sean Porter needs to fight, or maybe Ugas. But Sean Porter needs to fight somebody. You know what I'm saying? Danny Garcia, if he still has heart, he might want to try to make one more go at it so Kieth Thurman could try to do a rematch with Danny Garcia because they both have a decent fan base, But I'm still interested to see what happens. My main thing is this. Errol Spence and Terrence Bud Crawford need to fight. They don't necessarily need each other for their careers and their legacies. You know what I'm saying? They both have careers and legacy and money and things like that. They have success, and they both can go on to have success with or without each other. But for boxing's sake, for boxing fans' sake, for that warrior, who's the creme de la creme, who's Achilles, who's Hector, you know what I mean? To see who's the best of the best, then they have to go fist to cuffs. They should want to fight each other so bad right now, period, point blank. Now, I know everybody wants to fight Manny Pacquiao, but they should, at this point in time, they should want to fight each other, period. You know what I'm saying? So hopefully they make it happen. But we'll see at the end of the day, man. It's just boxing, and I wish the best for both of their careers. I wish the best for all of their careers. You know what I'm saying? So that's all I'm going to say. Appreciate y'all time. Let me know what y'all think in the comments. Leave me a comment. Chop it up with me. If you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button. Hit the thumbs up button. Holla back. Peace.